Reviving Italian football, a call for change in the face of modern intensity. Italian football has long been a source of pride and passion, a vibrant tapestry woven with unforgettable moments and legendary players. I grew up immersed in this world, where my education came from the iconic AC Milan. The unforgettable 4-0 victory over Barcelona in the 1994 Champions League final was not just a match, it was a masterclass in teamwork, strategy, and execution. It taught us about maintaining distances, winning the ball, and the art of timing in cross-field passes. Our Swedish coach, Bjorn Andersson, must have replayed the game 100 times, and for good reason. It was a blueprint for success. But my journey through Italian football hasn't been all triumph. In my youth, facing Italian teams was like stepping into a lion's den. Tournaments in Sicily, Viareggio, and Sardinia were brutal. We learned quickly that nothing was handed to us. The sting of defeat lingered, especially after our national team fell short in the semi-finals of the 2006 World Cup and the 2012 Euro. And then there was my first European final with Bayern in 2010, where we faced Inter Milan, led by the tactical genius Jose Mourinho. We lost 2-0, overwhelmed by their defensive prowess and our own tactical naivety. What made Italian football so formidable? Or rather, what used to make it formidable? The last Champions League title feels like a distant memory, and Serie A, once the pinnacle of football, risks fading into the background as other leagues take center stage. This season, Inter is the last Italian team standing, and as they prepare to face Bayern in the quarter-finals, they find themselves as the underdogs. The signs of decline were evident back in 2010. Inter's path to victory was paved with luck, especially during their semi-final against a dominant Barcelona. A volcanic eruption in Iceland delayed Barcelona's travel, and in the second leg, Inter resorted to a defensive shell that rarely leads to success. Mourinho, sensing the shift, left as a champion, moving on to new challenges. Once upon a time, Italy was the destination for every aspiring footballer. Milan was the epicenter of the sport, and a famous saying echoed through Germany, Milan or Madrid, as long as it's Italy. It captured the allure of Italian football, a sentiment still felt by many. The foundation of Italy's past success was built on Arrigo Sacchi's revolutionary ball-oriented zonal marking, a system that gave Italian teams a significant edge. The 90s saw Milan reach the Champions League final 3 times in a row, followed closely by Juventus. Clubs like Sampdoria, Parma, and Lazio also tasted European glory, culminating in the 2003 final between Juventus and Milan. However, the landscape has changed dramatically. Many Italian clubs are now owned by foreign investors, leading to a loss of identity and connection to their roots. While foreign capital has revitalized English football, Italy seems to have lost something essential in the process. This decline is evident in the aging stadiums that dot the Italian landscape. It's surprising, considering this is the country that boasts the Colosseum. Plans are in place to modernize venues for the 2032 Euros, including a renovation of the iconic San Siro. This is a step in the right direction. Communities need vibrant, family-friendly spaces to celebrate football as a cultural treasure. Yet, the heart of the crisis lies on the pitch. Italian teams are struggling with intensity, initiative, and athleticism. They spend significantly less than their counterparts in Spain, England, France, and Germany. A telling statistic revealed that the Bundesliga team with the lowest running stats outpaced the Serie A team with the highest. Italy's footballing system has stagnated, operating at a pace that no longer matches the demands of modern football. This issue isn't new. I recall Mourinho substituting strikers in the first leg against Barcelona in 2010 due to cramping, before extra time even began. This lack of dynamism has persisted, leading to a decline in quality. When opponents apply minimal pressure, players fail to develop their skills to world-class levels. The likes of Boggio, Del Piero, Cannavaro, Maldini, Bersi, Gattuso, and Pirlo seem like relics of a bygone era. Today's Italian teams remind me of a Ferrari that's been throttled back, running out of fuel long before the finish line. Even with superior organization, as seen in their recent Nations League match against Germany, they struggle to cope with the intensity. To borrow from a memorable Giovanni Trapattoni press conference, Italy played like an empty tank. Tactically, Italian players still hold their own, especially compared to their German and English counterparts. Their ball-oriented defending, attention to detail in one-on-one situations, and risk management are commendable. This tactical clarity has helped the national team achieve success in tournaments, as seen in their Euro 2021 triumph. However, relying on a narrow lead can backfire. The defensive tactics that once served them well are now being mastered by teams like Georgia. This has contributed to Italy missing out on the World Cup twice in recent years, with their last knockout victory dating back to 2006. Italian coaches have thrived on this tactical foundation, with legends like Carlo Ancelotti enjoying success for decades, though not in Italy for quite some time. To find their way back to glory, Italy must learn from their recent heavy defeats. The 2016 Champions League semi-final against Atletico Madrid was a wake-up call. They faced relentless intensity for 180 minutes, leaving no room for complacency. The silver lining is that defensive football can still yield victories. But simply slowing down isn't the answer. Italy must embrace a new ethos. They need to inject power into their game, be proactive in possession, and cultivate an unyielding desire to attack, much like the style of Diego Simeone. There's much to learn from the passion and intensity of this Argentinian coach. In fact, the entire Italian football scene could benefit from adopting a more dynamic approach, reminiscent of Atletico Madrid.